What up, guys? It is Makoa Goble here with LowKick MMA, and today I'm joined by the one and only Jared Vanderaa. Jared, how are you doing, my man?
Trying to figure out technology.
Yep, me too, man. It's honestly puzzling every day. And it's no secret that you're preparing for your next fight right now against Waldo Cortes-Acosta on the 29th of this month. How's this last stretch of your camp been?
Rough. It's just been going. I've been training basically almost every day. In other people's eyes, I'm not training like 24/7, 17 hours a day. Like people expect us fighters to be training all of the day, every day, for like the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed to be training, no outside life. It even if like we are training like 4 or 5 hours in the morning, sometimes like splitting up 2, 3 in the morning and then 2, 3 in the afternoon. Like I'm constantly training. People are like, "Well, why are you playing video games? Why are you doing this?" I was like, "Bitch, it's Sunday. No one's fucking working. It's my day off. I'm allowed to play fucking video games. So shut the fuck up." So,
Right? Yeah, and I
so
think it's fair for fighters to get that balance, Like you don't want to be just in the gym killing stuff every day. Like you want to spend some time with your family, chill out a little bit, play some video games. What have you been playing recently, man? Any titles that stand out to you?
I've just kind of been playing Soul Hackers 2. I'm waiting for Scarlett and Violet to come out. Uh, did it come out already?
I think it might have the new
Oh,
Pokemon.
yeah, I'm gonna be fucking pissed if it did because the shit's pre-ordered. I had the shit pre-ordered and I didn't get a fucking call. I'm gonna slap the shit out of GameStop. Like I'm like wait, like because I was thinking I'm like wait, I might be able to play that shit during fight week. I was like I'm now like genuinely concerned that I might have Scarlet and Violet just chilling, or it might actually come out tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it's out. I've heard that it's like real soon.
Close enough. It's in the next, I think, 3 to 4 weeks because I want to say it might be the like I said tomorrow, next week, or I think mid November. So close enough. Regardless, I'm excited.
Right. And let's get back onto some MMA things. You've said before that you don't strive to be the GOAT or the greatest, but instead you have a different goal, which is breaking somebody's femur by kicking it. I love that. And I've got to ask, how close are you to accomplishing this goal? And has there been any close calls or instances where you felt you've been pretty close so far?
In practice, I feel like there are moments I could, but because it's practice, I like my teammates, so I'm like, I'm gonna ease up on some people. Like I have one teammate that I have like he's already pre-broken. So if I hit it hard enough, like he's like, yo, like, and not even trying to hit it hard. Like he's like, don't forget bad leg. I'm like, oh my bad, bro. But like he goes, every time you kick it, like I feel it. Like he goes, you kick the top part of my leg, I feel it. I'm like close, but no cigar.
Yeah. So I know you've also talked about grappling and that your coaches had you geared towards like a real technical approach and they've told you in the past like don't use your power, don't lean on your power, like let's stay with the technical stuff. And you've gone and said that you feel like that was something they did wrong and you should have been focusing on both the whole time. So my question to you is what's changed with your approach to grappling training? Have you switched things up at all?
Yeah, completely. I just completely went to a whole new camp. I'm at Kings now, and yeah, they mean there. They're like, hey, you need to go harder. And like one of the now I have a dude that's actually a phenomenal black belt, and I actually have to use my strength with him. He's 6'4", 255. He's a black belt under Damian Maya. Like tough motherfucker. So I have to like I can't just be like I actually have to use my strength, and I'm getting my ass handed to me 9 out of 10 times. But but is I think one of the better things that has happened to me. When I roll with other people lately, I've noticed that I'm holding my own, if not holding my own, beating them. Um, yeah, so I feel like there are some pluses going into this camp. Improvements on my striking and grappling by switching to a different camp. And yeah, it's I think this is a good game changer.
Nice. And I know you've said before that your last camp had a lot of smaller guys, and you just mentioned that you've got some guys that are more your size. Do you think that's going to help you out a lot ahead of this fight now that you're really rolling with some guys that are maybe even bigger than you?
I hope so because it's I'm not used to having bigger dudes or like a guy that's even a half inch taller than me really putting that work in for me. So I'm just like, all right, cool. So I definitely think it's hopefully it's going to be a big positive going into this fight. I mean, like I still have like my opponent's a really strong boxer, so I mean it's one of those things where I do like I'm like when I'm sparring with him, I'm like, okay, what is he doing very similar to a boxer? What is he not doing? Okay, he's doing this, he's doing that. All right, cool. It's like boom, oh, I opened myself up there. Maybe I should fix that. So I'm able to see certain things now a little bit better than I was with smaller guys.
Right. And you've also said that you prefer short notice fights because it eliminates the possibility of you overthinking things leading into the fight. The first step to changing that would be recognizing it, and you've definitely done that. And so my question to you is, how have things been with that? Do you think you've been kind of overthinking things leading into this fight? And mentally, how are you? I mean, where's your mind at right now?
Yeah, I definitely that still rings true. I definitely overthink things. But I think it's done a lot better now. Like I've been kind of working on ways to handle overthinking, trying to simplify things, and I mean it's still one of my biggest issues. And like because a lot like even in my fights, like people are like, "Oh, you could have done this. Why did you do this?" Da, da, da. Like a lot of people have words of complaints, and they're like, "You didn't do this right." And one of my biggest issues is for myself is like I like when you know the sport, you're not like anytime I spar or train, every time I throw a punch, I'm like A, B, and C are opened when I throw a punch. When I kick, one, two, three becomes open. If I shoot, if I do this, all these things open up. So in my head, I assume my opponent or my teammate is thinking the same A, B, and C options. And sometimes I'll be like, jab. And I'm like, he's going to throw across. He just takes the jab. Boom. I'm like, oh, there's no cross. Throw my cross. Boom. It's like he's going to throw a hook or a high kick. He slipped. God damn it. Like I start overthinking certain things instead of just being like, throw, punch him, kick him in the dick, do something. You know, like I just don't do the instead of just kind of flowing and allowing myself to actually just do certain things, I overthink things and look at like I hear a lot of people like, why don't you grapple? I was like, why don't I grapple? Ben Askren, Masvidal. Every time I think of a shot, that is where my head goes to every fucking time. Then I look at Chimaev. Chimaev just grabs the fucking leg. He's like, I'm taking your ass down. I'm like, I need that confidence.
And
And
it's
like,
hard to come by.
yeah, and I'm like, Ben Askren had that confidence until a knee met his fate. So, and then like when you strike, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm punching, I'm kicking, and then takedown. You're like, fuck. You know, like it is a brutal like it's a brutal duality I have with myself because I'm like I overthink everything and kind of knowing what could possibly they do makes you a little apprehensive.
Right. Well, let's go on a little more of a light-hearted subject here. You know, you've talked before about how you've dropped the nickname The Mountain and how you've gone by many nicknames in your life, including Big F, you know, I won't cuss, but and Blue Eyes White Dragon and more. My question to you is, have you settled on a new nickname ahead of this fight? And if cussing was allowed on TV, would you go by Big F?
Oh, I definitely take Big F. Now I haven't settled on a new one, but I have to add a new one to the repertoire of names. Venetian, he fought last week of Contender Series. He got caught in a fun fight for both guys, but he got caught with a guillotine. Um, but regardless, that dude works fucking hard at the gym. He has all my respect. But he calls me Big Big. He was like, "Yo, what's up, Big Big?" I'm like, "You skinny ass motherfucker." But yeah, no. So Big Big is in the new one.
That's right. Well, hopefully we could figure you out a name and you'll have a low kick MMA inspired nickname. Maybe with this next fight we could just go by Big F and let the audience fill out the rest. But now another lighthearted question here. I don't know if you remember this, but about 3 or 4 months ago, you were getting interviewed by a guy named John Hyun Ko. When in the middle of the interview, you stopped to talk to somebody, and later you said that it was like a friend from high school, and it looked like he got stabbed. And after that, you guys just went on with the interview like normal. And I thought that was hilarious. But the world has to know, is your friend okay? And what happened with him to make you think that he got stabbed?
All right. So I live in Hemet. Now, at one point, this was known as the meth capital of the world. So, like, a lot of people here, like, we have a lot of homeless people. A lot of them are drug addicts. And one of my old friends, he had a bunch of problems in high school. And when I don't know what issue he technically has, but he kind of went down a dark path. And I saw him. I'm like, oh, he's using again. And yeah, so and when I saw him, it looked like he got stabbed, but he was just covered in blood. Yeah, just a typical Tuesday here. And yeah, no, that was more or less it. He got in a fight and stuff, and but he likes to see me doing well, so he comes in and shows his love. Sometimes at the worst possible opportunity, but yeah, no, like he's not, and the usage of drugs really ruined his life and a lot of people's lives here. In this town, it's small. There's not a lot to do. We're close to everything, but far enough where it's a big inconvenience. So a lot of people turn to the heavy drugs here. I've known so many people to get caught up in coke, crystal, heroin, and stuff like that. And weirdly enough, like fentanyl and heroin epidemic isn't as big here as you think it would be because everyone's strung out on meth. So, you know, the meth game's still running strong here in Hemet.
So my question is, did you grow up in Hemet? And if so, or wherever you grew up at, and forgive me for not knowing that. I feel like I did know it, but I can't think of it on the spot. But my question to you is, was it hard to avoid sinking into that lifestyle? Talk about that. Was it, because obviously you've made it kind of, to the UFC and you're obviously doing well for yourself. So talk about that. Was it hard to kind of stay on the right track?
Yes and no. Like, one day I will eventually go public about making. So I grew up all over the place. I moved roughly like 60 times in my life. And I wasn't a military child. So like I grew up around a lot of drugs, prostitution. I grew up around that kind of lifestyle. And so in a way it was just it would have been very easy for me to get into that lifestyle. But just seeing the damage it just done and like where I was as a child, I was just like, yo, fuck this shit. Like I'm like I have a harder like I have a hard time actually drinking. Like I drink, but I refuse to get drunk half the time. I've only been drunk maybe a total of 10 times, if that. And I literally when people hear me say this, I didn't start drinking until after I was 21. They look at me like I'm a fucking enigma. And I'm just like, if you knew everything I grew up with, you would understand why I'm a little apprehensive to alcohol and to all the other fucking things in the world. Not that I really like, if someone drinks, I don't care. I've never really judged them, but it's gotten to a point where I've seen how much it could ruin someone's life. So it was kind of easy to just not fall into those traps for me because I was like, I know the downside. I was like, I've had people in and out of my lives all my lives, very close, predominant family members in and out of my life because of drugs and alcohol. They weren't there.
Right. And I can relate to that. I come from a troubled past as well. And it's hard to kind of keep your head above water, so to speak, and keep forging along on that path. So I think, everyone in your family and even your fans, can be proud of you for, accomplishing what you have so far. And let's get back on in the MMA things. Everybody knows it's the last fight of your contract. Have you thought about the future at all? Like what you want to do next? Are you hoping to re-sign with the UFC, or would you be open to something new and exciting? There's so many new promotions out there. What are your thoughts on that?
Uh, I really haven't given too much thought. Like honestly, my first and foremost is literally winning. Like I've talked to my manager. He was like, "Dude, don't worry. You win this fight, I will get you re-signed." And I brought this concern up to him for sure multiple times. He's like, "Don't fucking worry." He goes, "I got you." And I'm like, "Okay." And I kind of like at that moment gave up on just thinking about all that. I was like, let me just go in there, fight this fight, and win or lose. I can't. I don't know the outcome yet. My preparation is everything I can do to go into this fight. I feel like I've prepped it very hard. Going to this fight, like right now, I woke up at 2:54 on the dot, or 2:64. My bad. 2:64 on the dot. Still got was it like well, no, God, I'm thinking. It was like 8 days left. So I got about 8 days, and I'm already underweight. I'm like, I'm feeling good. I don't have to cut weight. Normally, I have had to cut weight, and I'm like, it's nice not worrying about a weight cut. I want to go in there, be able to use my speed. I believe I will be the smaller guy this time, and hopefully that would be a good enough. Like being faster, maybe be able to tire him out a lot quicker. I'm hoping all those things will, you know, turn into a win, and like I said, from there I'll have my manager do his work, and I did my job, and we're all happy at the end of the day.
Does the thought of ending Cortes-Acosta's unbeaten streak excite you at all, or is your focus just on getting that win by any means necessary?
Getting the win because I genuinely don't care about records. I kind of stopped caring about records and stuff when I started realizing like you look at Charles Oliveira, like his records in the beginning weren't the best, and now look at him, people are like he's the GOAT. I I actually saw last night Matt Hughes when he was fighting. I think Joe Riggs. He was like 5-9 in the UFC or some shit like that. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. I might have misread something there. But I was like, wow, like Matt Hughes was like that. I'm like, all right. Um, but like I don't know. It's just like and then you get new organizations like PFL. They're like, okay, well, your record's this, but we're running it more like a sports like okay, you might have to fight twice in a night type of thing. And it's like, okay, well, you're, possibly damaging these people, but, it's a different viewpoint or different way of bracketing. And that's kind of, and the fact that I've taken a bunch of short notice fights. A lot of people won't take fights. So, like, a lot of everyone's favorite fighter nitpick about fight. People like to hear that. They're like, "Oh, my fighter takes on everybody." No, they don't. They fucking pick and choose. They whine and complain. And yeah, like the have never turned down a fight. Like, I had fights like I'd be like, yes, I would take this fight, but here's a stipulation. And sometimes it's simple. Like when my girl was pregnant, they asked me to fight Tanner Bosner on like a week notice. So I was like, yeah, I'll take the fight. Just let me bring my pregnant girlfriend with me, like so I could take care of her. And they're like, okay, we'll keep you on the back burner. Let's see if we could get someone else to agree. And I think OSP took the fight or something like that. So I'm like, okay, like I agreed to it. I did, like, my stipulation wasn't crazy, but they were like, yes, you're willing to help us out though. And they're like, they even said like, we appreciate the fact that all you had a little less stipulations, and boom. And it wasn't a big deal. I wasn't offended. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Nice. Well, this will be my last question for you today. Waldo Cortes-Acosta's face. How punchable is his face compared to Chase Sherman's? Because I know you said that Chase Sherman had a really punchable face.
Still does. Like honestly, not as bad. Like Chase is still top tier. The only other person that has maybe more of a punchable face is Sergey
Spivak.
I don't want to butcher this. No.
Oh, Karatonov or whatever.
Panaseki. No, not Sergey Karatonov. He's the big Russian dude that just dropped Derek Lewis. I forget his fucking name either. It's Sergey something. Dude fucking hits like a goddamn tank and stuff like that. But his face is just like, you should be able to punch it. Like everyone needs to punch that face. Waldo actually doesn't seem like a very he doesn't look like he needs to be punched in the face as much. Like definitely gonna punch it, but it's just not that like drive to punch his face in as badly as I wanted to punch Chase or Sergey's face in. And again, this has nothing to do with their character, personality, things they may or may not have said about me. I'm just like, that face looks punchable.
Right, just some fun stuff.
Random ass. I'm like, oh my, this motherfucker got a punchable ass face. And sometimes I get to punch their faces, I'm like,
so second last question real quick. I know we're struggling with the connection, but I just want to fit this in. My face. How punchable is my face?
Definitely less than Chase. A little bit more than Waldo, though.
Nice. Well, just maybe if we ever see each other at a fight or something, we'll have to do like a Ariel Helwani Rampage Jackson, where Rampage would smack Ariel. Maybe you could just punch me. I will probably go unconscious, but I'll have someone there to grab me or something. I'll come back. It'll be a nice memory.
Yeah. And like, I don't discriminate. I punch people with glasses all the time. So don't worry.
Nice. Well, I'm sorry about how the connection is.
I'm a giver.
Is there anything you'd like to say before we end off here? Any sponsors or people you want to shout out?
No, thank you guys for having me. I love being on the show. So thank you guys again for having me. And if you want to follow me on any social media platform, the major ones, you can find me under Jared Vanderaa. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much for your time, man. And we're out. Peace.
All right, man. Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.